Good evening, friends. Daalụ na ụmụnne m ndị Enuani ya na ụmụnne m bụ ndị Igbo. Eji m oge na-abacha ụnụ n'ụlọ anyị bụ Enuani Cultural Forum. Nuani. Asị m ka anyị ji oge tarie ka anyị sikarị atari mbụ. Ka afọ na ibe ewere. Ọkwa onye nchụ imeni o. Achọ nke nzije n'ụlọ anyị okwu abụ. Ụlọ anyị bụ Enuani Cultural Forum dị na Facebook. Ka ụmụnne anyị ndị nọzụkọbọ soro anyị ka afọ na ibe were ka nsi gwa ụnụ. Daalụ na ahụghị m anụ okwu ya abachaghị na ya bụ ụlọ. Ka nzijezi ya n'ụlọ okwu abụ ka anyị shie nne maka na onwe onye nchọ ka eme na ụlọ were inebanye anya. I would like us to consider today's topic together. The topic that says important elements of Igbo history. Important elements of Igbo history. And identity. Important element of Igbo history and identity. That's what we'll be looking at this evening. So if you are online, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber as well, welcome. If this is your first time of coming across our YouTube channel and you are my Igbo brother or sister, Biko, I invite you to please subscribe to our channel. Give us a thumbs up. Share our video. That's one of the things you can do to support us. Do it right away. Share our video so that when we start our discussion, people who are online will be much. So that if we have questions to take, we can take them. Please share our videos to your audience so that people can join in. So that people will know that we are live. Let's discuss. Let's discuss one-on-one. Let's have a heart-to-heart discussion. Ka tarie dịka enwene na enwene. Ịma na asụ na enwene na enwene adị eri nri. Asụ ọ mụsha na ukpeo. Ka tarie dịka ụmụnne na ụmụnne. Oge elu anyị ga-eji kpaa ya bụ nkata. Ka mgbuwa n'ụlọ isiokwu anyị chọrọ inebanye anya. Asị na anya anyị jikọ inebanye anya tata bụ isiokwu gbasara important elements of Igbo history and identity. Identity and identity crisis is a global discussion. Many people have identity crisis, and as usual, it is very easy for people to deny that they have identity crisis or issue to resolve among themselves. People don't know who they are, and they don't even think that it is important to know who they are. Now, if you don't know who you are, it will be very difficult for you to know where you are going in life. That is why it is important to know who you are. If you know who you are, where you are coming from, then you can now discuss about where you are heading. It is very important to know who you are. One very prominent philosopher, I think it's Socrates, says, "Man, know thyself and thy ways." Man, know thyself and thy ways. It is very important for man to know himself. Know your past. Know your origin. Know your identity. That way you can predict the future. By knowing the past, you can even avert some situations that may occur in future. So it is important that as an Igbo person, as a human being, you know yourself. If you have questions about your identity, science has improved in such a way that people who have identity issues can conduct a DNA ancestry test to determine where they are from. This DNA ancestry test will help you to know whether you are Igbo, Igala, Bini, Yoruba, Nupe, any of the ethnic groups, so that you don't end up denying your identity. But before these DNA tests, there are so many things I would want you and I to examine that are important factors that determine if you are an Igbo person or not. Recently, we all saw the documentary put together by our brother Osemeke from Iseluku, a very powerful documentary of Enuani culture from the Iseluku perspective. And I picked a lot of things from there concerning the people of Iseluku. As I have always discussed about Iseluku, the documentary validated so many of the claims. One of the most prominent things you can point out to that Igbos do is to name their children according to either the circumstances surrounding the birth of that child. Ihe meni weji ogweji moyo. Apia wazu ubos we moyo. Ihe ndị na ga-eyi aka obodo ga-eji nọkọme. Ndị ezinụlọ anọkọme nne m nwa na nnadi m nwa aba gwa nwa wafa dike kenye meni ogweji mụa si mee. Ọ bụ na amụwa ya bụ nwa mbọsị eke agwụ awa nwa eke. Ọ bụrụ afọ agwụ awa nwa afọ ka ọ bụ mgbu afọ ka ọ bụ ada afọ ọ bụ na okposoro. Ọ bụrụ ụbọchị orie agwụ awa nwa orie ada orie okorie. Ọ bụrụ ụbọchị nkwọ ị ga-ahụ ndị agwụ okonkwọ ada nkwọ nwa nkwọ. Afa niile chane bụ afọ Igbo. Ya bụ ka anyị si agwụ nwa afa ga-eme mmadụ n'oyeni bụ onye Igbo. Ọ kwụsịkwa n'ebe ọ maka mmadụ bụ ike si oke na ahụgo ya aza Olusegun Chukwudi Okorie. Mgbe ị ga-adị si na Olusegun ome bụrụ onye Yoruba. Mba, Olusegun emene bụrụ onye Yoruba. Afọ wee gwụ kikwa esi na ọ bụ afa ndị obodo ụnụ. Ọ bụ na afa ndị mmụọ ya azado abụ egwuwa ya marine that is your ancestral name. Nke oyibo akpọzi nwa surname dị na mbụ. Na mbụ nnọrọ ahụ bụ na ezinụlọ a ụgbọ bụ ọnwụ. Ezinụlọ enyi bụ ọnwụ. Ezinụlọ a Okonkwo nwa Yalokwu bụ ọnwụ. N'ọkwa esi agba. Mana kịta na enwe omege nye oyibo kpọ surname. Surname inwe ọ bụ na ndị na-abịa ghezama afọ oyibo dịka surname. Surname inwe dị ndị ga-eme n'imari bụ isi bịa. Ijegide nwa na ma agwụ regista ka nsike na anọ m obodo oyibo. Ikesa anọ m Dortmund na Germany. Pụcha na enebe akpụ afa. Agwụgide wa afa gwa mọdị. Agwụgide wa afa gwa Chimere. Amasị na onye Igbo onye nke ayo. Na onye Igbo onye Igbo. The name has helped me to identify that this person may have Igbo roots. There are so many musicians in modern day music industry abroad who bear Igbo names. We have Chibuzo that goes by Shabuzi because he said that is the way his friends call his name Chibuzo. So Shabuzi is an Igbo person. We have people like Chimere, the one that goes by the stage name Neo. When you see Chimere in somebody's name, it will occur to you that this person is an Igbo person. So name is one of the important factors that identifies you as an Igbo person. This is why it's important that when you name your children, you consider your identity and project it into your children. I, for one, my children bear purely Igbo names. None of them have English names. Even at baptism, the priest will ask, which biblical name or which Christian or godly name are you giving to the child? I gave my first daughter a godly name, Ngozi. Ngozi Chukwuka is a godly name. I gave my second daughter also a godly name that is in line with Igbo culture, because Igbos were not worshiping any other person but God. Chukwu Okike. We acknowledge him and we also worship him as Igbo people. So, naming your child Jeremiah, Joshua, Philip does not make you more Christian than the person who named his own child Chukwudemma or Chukwuemeke. That is a name. If we move further from name, we have seen Igbo people use kola nut in a very unique way. Onye Igbo wepụsha ọjị, ọba bụ ụzọ gọgede ya bụ ọjị, maka na isi na ọgọkwa eye na ọjị ata. We first of all pray over kola nut. Do all the ceremony that follows the breaking of kola nut before we eat kola nut. A true Igbo person cannot bring out kola nut and throw into his mouth and start eating. No. A true Igbo person cannot also bring out kola nut and start eating it without praying, or break that kola nut transversely. Kola nut is broken longitudinally so that you can know which one is the male and which one is the female. And you can also know how many pieces does the kola fall out to. If your kola nut that you have broken falls into 2 pieces, it is edible. You can eat it. If a kola nut fails to break into pieces, that means it has only 1 seed. It is not for man to eat. Ya bụ ọjị ndị ama bụ nkọ. Ya bụ ọjị weji agọ mmụọ ke nke ọbụ. Adịwa ata. For man, for an Igbo man to eat kola nut, the kola nut must have at least 2 cotyledons or more. When it has 2, it has its meaning. When it has 3, it has meaning. When it has 4, it has meaning. One day I will dedicate a time to the teachings on kola nut and breaking of kola nut. The significances of each number of pieces of kola nut. But know that kola nut and the ceremony that accompanies it is one of the things that Igbo people are known for. That is number 2. Number 3, Igbo for yana Igbo more. Remember, as I said earlier, kola nut is a very important material when Igbos do their Igbo more na Igbo for. Ọjị ka eji ebigbo mo. We use kola nut to appease the spirits. We use kola nut to summon spirits. We use kola nut to also do Ibando covenant. We use kola nut for so many very important things in Igbo land. Mane ofunye pụiche n'ebe ndị Igbo nọ. Anyị kwere ne ọjị ada n'oyibo. We Igbos believe that kola nut does not understand English. So we speak to kola nut in our native language, in our traditional language. That is the third one where I'm coming in. That it is our traditional language that we use in praying using kola nut. This way, any lineage you see making prayer, making incantations, any ebe ọbụla na-agọ ọfọ na-agọ mmụọ na-ekpe ekpele ji ọjị ba na-asụ asụsụ Igbo marine ndị Igbo kwebo. I have to repeat that again. Any lineage that you see praying before their ancestral shrine with Igbo language, they are ultimately of Igbo heritage. Because you cannot pray to the gods of your land in a strange language. Oji kweje bibomo. You will see the people that I posted in that documentary saying, ndị iche, ndị mụna anyị, ndị narị anyị laa n'imanya. There's one elaborate video that I posted some time ago from Onichubo where the elders offered food before the deity and called before the offer of their lineage and called on their ancestors to come and eat. They brought water and said, ndị mụna anyị kwụọ n'aka rie nri, akwọna n'aka kwọgbu anyị. Wash your hands and eat. Do not wash your hands and beat us up. These people speak purely Igbo language in promoting their culture. They don't add English. It is only in this modern day that you have now seen elders praying over kola nut and ending it in Jesus' name. It is not part of Igbo culture. Maybe it is part of modernization. That after prayer over kola nut and drinks, the elderly one says in Jesus' name. This is an aberration as well. Not minding the culture, not minding the religion of the other people present. Because the prayer he has made may not be binding on everyone, since everyone there may not be a follower of Jesus. Until everyone in that congregation is converted, I think it is wrong to make prayers and conclude it in Jesus' name, in an ancestral meeting of a lineage. So this is the third point we have discussed that are identifiers of Igbo identity that we have not discussed before. Some others are, we have talked about circumcision. Some people say, okay, themselves also circumcise. Yes, you circumcise. On which day do you circumcise? Igbos carry out the naming of their child on the 7th day the child is born. On the 8th day, the child is circumcised. Very symbolic. And then if it is a situation where the mother would come for Omugo, she would have come. The mother of the bride, the mother of the child goes for Omugo. All these are in line with Igbo cultural practices. What Igbos are known for. In Igbo land also, we do not just practice the 4 market days, as some people who claim they also practice the 4 market days. The 4 market days are very symbolic and useful to each community in Igbo land. For instance, in my community, the 4 market days, the Eke of the 4 market days is the most important to us because that is the day we use for our ancestral worship. Our ancestral worship, the people of Ubuluku kingdom, is on Eke days. So if a child is born on Eke day, that child can be considered as the children you see today who are born on Sunday. If you see a child named Nweke, Adeke, Mweke, Okeke, These children were born on Eke Day, and Eke Day is a very important day spiritually for my community. It is also our market day. On that day, nobody goes to the farm to work. Adweju ugbo akpasumokwu ụbọchị Eke. Maka na ịkpasumokwu ya agwa Fejokwu na ya bịa. It is by setting fire that you tell Fejokwu, the god of farming, that you have arrived the farm. And Fejokwu's agreement with the people of Ubolo is that they are not meant to come to the farm on Eke Day. So, on Eke Day, men are to gather together and discuss the progress, the welfare, the challenges of that lineage. Settle disputes, eat together, and pray together. That is what we do on Eke Days. The same way, on Afo Day, the people of Ogwashuku do not go to farm. They stay put at home and use that day for prayer. Afo is also the market of Iseluku. So, Ogwashuku shares Afo Day with Iseluku. For each community, there is a particular market day that they revere so much in Igbo land that they pray with. While I was discussing about kola nut, I also mentioned that kola nut can fall into different pieces. If kola nut falls into 4, it represents the 4 market days in Igbo land. It is a symbol of completeness. If you're joining us now, you have not been part of the discussion. This is Enuani Cultural Forum. In case you are an existing subscriber, if this is your first time of also coming across our video, I enjoin you to please subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, share our video to your audience. We are discussing important elements of Igbo history and identity. Now, having discussed these aspects, we can now begin to look at other aspects of Igbo culture that are material. Things like what I'm holding now. This means different things to different people in Igbo land. To a dibia, this is Odo. To a king, this is Otoloaka. Whichever one it means to you as an Igbo person, it is an important element to identify someone as Oyibo. This, to some kings, if it is passed down from generation to generation to generation, can be their staff of authority, the Otoloaka. So there are so many important elements of Igbo culture, Igbo unity, Igbo identity, and Igbo history. But very importantly, most of these aspects of Igbo culture are shared among Igbo communities. Odibende na adịghị bende dịka ogiri isi na-agba mme. So we can have Odibende, but the general culture of Igbo people remains constant among most Igbo communities. The Okpala system of leadership in Igbo land that deals with gerontocracy is maintained in almost every Igbo community. If there's a chief in that lineage that helps to represent them in the palace, that chief does not take over the role of the Diokpala of that Ebo. That Diokpala system in Ebo is even brought back down to the family line, because in families you also have Diokpala in families, whose role is to ensure that that family is well protected and represented in the general lineage. We have looked at up to 4 important elements of Igbo history and identity. As an Igbo person, we all regard the mother deity Ani. While I call it Ani as an Enuani person, nwunye m nọ na ani Igbo ndị dị n'akwụkwọ ofu abụọ ma mbala alụ ike na-akpọ ala, ụfọdụ akpọ ana, ụfọdụ akpọ ani, ụfọdụ akpọ ali. Nwa niile bụ ofu nnọọ. Whether you call it ali, ana, ani, ana, you are all talking about the mother earth. It is the mother deity. And we believe it is female because the land usually brings forth fruitfulness. We all respect Ani. That is why if anyone spills blood on Ani, the person has by any means unalived somebody, and the person's obara touches Ani, the person is asked to cleanse Ani, because the crime the person committed is believed that no, you're a meloga Ani. Ani is known for fruitfulness, and you have committed something that is against Ani. So your propitiation will now be called Idozi Ani. No Gedozi Ani, no Meluani, no Mensoani. In fact, abomination is also called Nsoani. So these are important elements and aspects of Igbo history and identity. Remember, we started with saying that it is important for man to know himself. It is when you know yourself, where you are coming from, where you are, that you can determine where you are going. Because history often repeats itself. So those who are in tune with history can avert a dangerous reoccurrence of historical precedents. In Igbo land, we have a culture concerning marriage. We have a culture concerning paternity of children as well. Although inside this culture we have Odibende, but the bride price system in Igbo land is cut across every community in an Igbo. That before a man can boldly say, I have married this woman as my wife, na an Igbo, you will have comfortably, completely, if not partly, if not completely, paid the bride price of this woman. Why I said partly is because Ogobu Juju, Olusha Parewa, you will always have need to go to your in-laws. They will always have need to come to you. In fact, in Igbo land, we believe that marrying a woman means they have gained a son, while your family has also gained a daughter. So in Igbo land, it is not just two people, a man and a woman, that get married. It is a lineage and a lineage that gets married. That is Igbo culture. That is to say, if my friend, if my brother married from, let me say, Obogu in Egi, somewhere in Onaga local government area of Rivers State, if I see anybody from Obogu, that person is my in-law, because I have married their daughter. I am now their in-law. I am now their brother-in-law, while their daughter is now the wife of my lineage, not just my wife. That is Igbo cultural practice. In Igbo land, it is Ebo and Ebo that get married. Umunna and Umunna, not man and woman. So, these are important aspects of Igbo history and identity that we have looked at today. There are so many more. So many more. Just like I highlighted the importance of kola nut, it will be wrong of me not to also mention the importance of palm wine, whether it is up wine or down wine. But most attention is usually paid to up wine. In fact, in some communities in Igbo land, if what you have brought is down wine, not up wine, you will have to make it up to rename that down wine to become up wine, to make it up. Wine, just like kola nut, is part of the things we use in libation and ịgọ mmadụ kpesie ekpele, gọsịa mmanya, gọtesie ọfọ, ọ tụọ mmanya n'anị. Mmadụ gọtesie ọfọ na mmanya, ọ tụọ n'anị. You have now given a sip of that drink to the ancestors to drink. When we say ancestors, some people easily get scared and worried, and they talk about paganism very quickly. But very soon, maybe in 60 years' time, 70 years' time, if God permits, depending on how long He allows us to live, the Almighty, Chukwu Okike, we will all also become ancestors. If while we are alive, we regard those ancestors as nothing, as immaterial, as evil, how then do we hope to be perceived as ancestors when we eventually become one? Because we will all eventually become ancestors. So these are important identifiers of Igbo history and identity. This identifies you without DNA test that you are an Igbo person. There are so many other things that are not tangible. You cannot see them, but they make you know that you are Igbo. First of all, if you have a high level of wisdom without growing old to achieve it or staying around old people to achieve it, you may have Igbo ancestry. Akọ na uche bụ ofu ihe n'ime ndị eji mara ndị Igbo. Akọ na uche. Igbo mara ejikwame, Igbo mara edokwame, Igbo amara na-etisa ahụ. In all we have read about Igbo people, it is not too much of a conquest by fight. It is a conquest by ideology that Igbos usually carry out. And they are still doing so till today. Anywhere you see Igbo people, it is either they are the owners of chains of businesses, blocks of businesses, and there can be up to 5 or 10 different people doing the same business in the same line, and they live happily without quarrel. And they even keep inviting more people to come to that line, so that that line can be known as Obo Pure Water, Obo Benara, Obo Spare Parts. It is a conquest by ideology. That is what Igbos are known for. High level of IQ identifies you as an Igbo person. This is why some of our brothers will be moved to say that Igbos are Hebrews. In fact, today, somebody made me laugh so hard by saying that Obolo is one of the sons of Jacob. I think if I can find the name, I will read it out. It made me laugh so hard that Obolo means one name he mentioned that is in the Bible, and that the person is a son of Jacob. He said Obolo is Zebulun, a son of Jacob. I just laughed at it. Obolo is the name of a tree. Obolo is the name of a tree. In Igbo, across Igbo land, the other sides of Igbo land, that is across the river Niger, it is called Obolo Inu. That is Obolo tree. Obolo tree is known everywhere. That is the tree from which Obolo got her name. Obolo Ukwu was a very big tree. It has fallen, but the charrs are still left. The trunk of the tree is still left till today. And in biological sciences, the tree is Nuclear latifolia or Nuclear diderici. I have a science background, and incidentally I did biological sciences. So that is why I know this. The tree Obolo is a tree, not a biblical name. It is a tree that produces a fruit which its fruit actually looks like the brain of an animal. Most of my kinsmen who are elderly said when they were young, they used to go to the tree under it and pick up those fruits. That's a different story altogether, so we will not go into it. So, but we have discussed that when people pour libation in Igbo land, I told Semanya, go for, will all go for, asụsụ obodo anyị ka eji agụ adụ eji oyibo agụ ọfọ. Asụsụ ọbụla ịhụ mmadụ bụ oji agụ ọfọ, mmadụ na asụsụ ọ bụ asụsụ a ndị mụ na adụ eji asụsụ obodo ọzọ agụ ọfọ. Ya ma hụzi mmadụ bụ onwe n'ise mkpụrụ osisi si na mkpụrụ osisi nikwa akpọ ọjị. Ọjị ọka ụnụ akpọ a, ọjị ọka anyị nwa akpọ a. Sịsọ anyị bụ ndị akpọ na ọjị, onwere ndị ọzọ akpọ na ọjị. Gbaa wa ya bụ ọjị. Dịka ka Igbo si awa ọjị. Wasa ya bụ ọjị, gbawele, gbasụwene ọjị na gba ibe anọ. Iji gosi afịa anọ ịnwụ na anyị Igbo. Ejikwa m ọnwụ ebule okwu o, ya bụ atụke nji ama. Bagụọ ya bụ ọjị gosi ya. Agba eke ọjị, onye ọbụla ata. Onye agọkwa ọjị na ebodi. Onye ọkachasị kala na ya bụ nyụnụ ga-akpọ the oldest person. Agọ ọjịnị. Thank you so much, my brother, for the thumbs up. Ọgọsị ọjịnị, onye ọbụla ata. Unu tụgharịzị na asị n'ụlọ abụọ ndị Igbo. Naanịzị. There are so many reasons why people deny their Igbo origin. So many reasons why people deny their Igbo identity. And I don't think we can continue to blame them that much. If they fail to grow up and accept who they are, fine and good. It will be up to them what type of legacy they want to leave for their children. There are so many reasons why people deny their Igbo identity. I'm looking to see if I can bring up some of them. Some of the reasons why people deny their Igbo identity. Because we have a historian who studied the origins of migrations of Igbo people. Especially the people you will see denying this their identity are the ones who are suffering from the aftermath of the Aya Biafra. They are so traumatized and still even traumatized that mentioning anything Igbo is a problem to them. They don't want to be associated with anything that sounds or looks Igbo. To them, it is a, should I say, a bad luck to them. That's what it looks like to so many of them. So, they do not want to be associated with it at all. They don't want it. So, looking at the origin of migration of Igbo people of the lower Niger, especially people on this Enuani region, you will find that so many communities migrated because of either war or any other thing at all that led them to migrate, and now they now wholesale believe that, hey, we are now We are no longer Bini people. We are no longer Enuani people. We are no longer Igbo people. We are now Bini people. And it's not so. Afikpo Adiele, our brother Adiele Afikpo, wrote that he insists that traditions of origins from Benin by the affected groups notwithstanding, the Igbo speaking people west of the Niger are bona fide Igbo people. The Igbo speaking people west of the Niger are bona fide Igbo people. He went further. He opines that the latest migration westwards was halted by the rise of the Benin Empire, a development which led to a recoil movement back to the Niger. It is this later movement, in his view, that has survived in the West Niger Igbo traditions as origins and migrations from Benin. People who are from Igbo and they live in Anidu, the place now called Benin. And then suddenly something happens and they wish to go back. And then they hear that the Benin Empire they have left is now doing very well. And they say, oh, let's go back again. And they go back halfway. You now hear them saying, we are from Benin. This is Adiela people's account of recoil migration. I don't want to bore us much with this because this is not what we are looking into actually today. What we are looking into today is things that identify you as an Igbo person. So whether you have this recoil migration or not, but you are practicing these things that I said, that you have your normal 4 market days. Oh, you name your children after the 4 market days or the events that surround their birth. Makani Igbo ada nobody no na agwa afa. O wonya akpasha na eji agwa afa. Kibu nye ndị mmeni tupu eji mmụọ ya bụ nwa. Kibu afịawa azụ ụbọchị wee mụọ ya bụ nwa. Onwe important event emeni mbọchị wee mụọ. Nye ndị na-ebu nye ndị eyi aka wee ji agwụ nwa afa. Na Igbo, either agwụ nwa Green, Yellow, Jackson. No. We must begin to even do that to ensure that our children bear Igbo names. There are very meaningful Igbo names that our children can bear. Let's ensure that we promote that idea of our children bearing Igbo names. It is very, very important. It's not something we can overlook. Oh. It is not something we can overlook. Oh. We cannot overlook it. Our children have to bear Igbo names. Folks are engaging in this. I wish I could read that before he disappeared. I don't know how to get that back now. Okay, so I saw your comment, my brother, and it's a very nice one. I've put on the live chat so I can see it. It said, bro, folks are engaging in this fruitless debate. It's not like anyone can carve the land and move it somewhere else. It's simply economics. We are better together. Very simple. Very, very simple. Nobody is coming to relocate Iseluku to Owerri. Nobody is coming to relocate Asaba to Umuahia. Nobody. If we can have people moving in here from from Benin Republic, and they move over to the north, then find themselves here. If you ask them, they will say, one Nigeria, we are everywhere, is our land. And you welcome them. Now you are seeing, oh, they want to annex us. They want to annex us as part of Biafra. And then we'll become Igbo people. Nobody is coming to relocate. Michael Okpara, as I've always said to my followers on our other platform, Michael Okpara moved with Dennis Chukwude Osadebe from community to community, from Ogwashuku to Asaba, from Asaba to Abo, from Abo to everywhere they went to. What were they looking for? Michael Okpara was saying, please vote in the next referendum so that we can have a Midwestern state. That was all he was doing. He was doing this with the belief that his Igbo brothers can be liberated. Who are those his Igbo brothers? We in Western Igbo land. those of us in Western Igbo land, who, when we were in Western Nigeria together with the Yorubas, they were seeing us as Igbo people. Hey, even Bini people of today, who are suddenly begin to forget history, were among the people that the Yorubas classed as Igbo people. Ask anyone that is old, they will explain these things to you. So when we got our Midwestern region, it is not coincidence that an Igbo man too was the premier of that Midwestern region. Dennis Chukwude Olisadebe, that's Osadebe, became the first premier of the Midwestern region. And Michael Okpara was heavily involved in the actualization of this Midwestern region. When later on, they decided to create states and no longer region, we became Bendel states. They were comfortably calling us Bendel Igbos. No longer Midwestern Igbos, now Bendel Igbos. When Bendel state was divided in 1990, I think 1991, and we got our Delta state, they started calling us Delta Igbos. There was no time Igbo was missing from our name. Now, Delta state is here. They are calling us Delta Igbos. Now we are clamoring for an Anioma state, and they say we are now Anioma people. Some of them are saying we are now Anioma, we are no longer Igbos. What an irony. Isn't it very, very funny? It's very laughable that somebody who was once regarded completely as an Igbo person all through their generation now suddenly becomes Anioma, an acronym, which is also an Igbo acronym. Acronym for Aniocha. We have our Anaocha in Anambra, which is an acronym for Aniocha, Ndokwa, Eka, Oshimili. And then the MA is just like something to make it sound well. These are Igbo speaking people by culture. In fact, the people in Okwani are the very, very classic example of Igbo communities because their leadership system is purely the type we have across the eastern parts of Igbo land, where they use the Okpala system. It is the Diokpala, the oldest man there, that leads. They don't even practice the kingship. That oldest man becomes the king. As Okpaluku, their leadership is by gerontocracy. Although we in Enuani have our own gerontocracy, but the king is also found in many of the Enuani communities. So, the Igbo culture is very, very clear and crystal. It is not something you can easily subvert. I was trying to bring out reasons why people from this side suddenly started jettisoning or rejecting their Igbo ancestry. I'm trying to bring out, there are so many reasons, because people have researched and published their findings. Just like some people you will see among the Umuezechima. The Umuezechima are found in the same group of people that you just saw the documentary we posted. You can go back and watch the documentary of Oboli people in Iseluku. The Oboli people in Iseluku are incidentally among the early settlers in that land area called Iseluku. The Oboli people are the early settlers in Iseluku, and they are Igbo people. The documentary portrays them, explaining it clearly, in clear terms, incontrovertibly, that we are Igbo people. They use their orgy to make prayer. to go ọfọ maka na ọfọ ka ịgọ dịka ndị Igbo agụ awọ ọjị gọsi ọjị ata awọ ọjị ewerukwa nke a ga-enye ndị bịa ọ bụ na onye ọbịa wecha ọjị ka ọ na-ame maka na Igbo asị na ọjị bụ onye njem ọjị lụọ ọnọ ka o kwuo echene ka esi asụ Igbo ọnwa na agwụ ụlọ okwu dịka ndị menewe nọ n'ofu ụlọ bụ Enuani Cultural Forum na agba na anụ nyemekwu na anụ nyemekwu n'ọnya ọhụma ọhụma ya marị n'obodo m si bịa ya ejene n'ụbụlụ mana ya anụ asụsụ m asụ asụsụ m na-akọwaga n'ofu nye na onye n'Igbo onye Igbo asụsụ bụ ofu nye n'ime nye ndị ị ga-eji marị n'oye dị nọ ka ọ bụ adụwachi isi aka agba ụrịọ chi ada efo ashatọ ụtụtụ isi kwakpo afa akwa okpu ihe ekpo nye ka ọ bụrụ na aka ọ bụrụ na nye ekpo asụsụ anyị ka ọ bụrụ na anyị ka ọ ga-abụrụ na anyị ya ka o jide mma na anyị ga-akwado ya bụ asụsụ. I've had reasons to caution some school owners who all through the academic year, primary schools and nursery, will ban the children from speaking Igbo language in school. And then suddenly they remember there's a cultural day. And then mobile up these children in one place and start teaching them Igbo language in 1 week. What? Can't these children speak their Igbo and your English at the same time and learn them? You cannot cage children, flog them for even speaking Igbo language, which you call vernacular. And then suddenly, you remember that we have cultural day, we have to promote culture. You dress some people up as Igbo, you dress some as Hausa, you dress some as Yoruba, you dress some as Beni. What are you trying to achieve in 1 day? After that day, anybody that speaks Igbo becomes scapegoated. After that day of your cultural day, anybody that speaks Igbo language, that practices Igbo culture, you flog the person. That is not how to promote culture in any way. And this is primary school we are talking about, the formative years of a child's life. If a man is seen dressed this way that I am dressed, like an Igbo person, wearing red cap and beads, they will look at you like a probably Oya Gwogu. Koboya Bafa, Koboya Dibia. That is not Igbo culture at all. And we must continue to strive to promote our culture. Sorry for that break. I needed to clear my throat and take water. So we must continue to do things that promote our Igbo culture, our Igbo identity. It is very, very important that we do so. If we don't protect and promote our culture, no one will do so for us. In case today is your first time of seeing our video, I'm pleading with you to please give us a thumbs up, share our video, and subscribe to our channel. If you're also an existing subscriber, I want to thank you for joining today's live broadcast. It has really been an important and thrilling journey with you. In fact, I've been able to talk this far because there are people watching. And there are people commenting. Drop your comments. I will always see them. I will always see them and and I will reply you if it's a question. So those things I listed are things you will see and you will know that this person is an Igbo person. Onye Igbo adịghị Oyibo agụ ọjị no. Ọ mmadụ dị wepụchazi ọjị gụọ wepụcha mmanya gụọ mmanya ya mmadụ na enyi bụ onye Igbo. Anyị je ga-anụ nwunye ọnwụ ka si anụ nwunye. Mmadụ fekwa na mmadụ ebisịa tọsịa jeme onye anwụ anwụ ka si ememe akwamozu n'ala Igbo. Anwụ ka esi akwa ozu n'ala Igbo. Nwoke esi eshu ushu n'ala Igbo. Anyị na-enifu mmadụ. Anyị na-etufu mmadụ. Ebo ga-edokwa m onye ọnị gbadue na mkpụrụ obi abazulike maka na anyị kwere na mmadụ jesịa tọsịa jeme na ọ ga-anụgharị agwụ ya bụ reincarnation. We Igbos believe in reincarnation. Whether you believe in it as a person or not, we believe in reincarnation. Kudos for the wonderful job you are doing. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so much. God bless you. So, we believe in reincarnation. That is why when somebody has lived a life here that is good, passes, we pray that the person comes back again. When somebody lives a bad life as well, we pray that the person doesn't even come back again. So we try to also atone for the person's crimes so that when the person comes back again, would not come back as a trouble person. There are so many Igbo ordinary is very vast. This is why I am advocating for it to be studied in schools. The parents can do a lot in teaching their children, but ordinary Igbo oshikezi ọ bụ na nye ọ ga-adọ na mmadụ anyị tubepụ na ya because they are of multifaceted. There are so many aspects of it to learn. Just like I have just mentioned funeral rites, that is a whole big topic on its own. Marital rights, a whole big topic on its own. Even under funeral rights, widowhood is a big topic on its own. Reincarnation, a big topic on its own. So, the Igbo ordinary, you keep hearing me saying ordinary. That is the one I am interested in us preserving because we met that one. Ordinary, if I am to emphasize, ordinary is nyewe dị naanị unu eme ikwudo. Very slight difference between ordinary and omenani. But ordinary, take it as in English, tradition. Those practices of your ancestors that you met, your father met it, your father's father met it, and they have passed it on from generation to generation to generation to generation. One of them is this one I mentioned, bride price payment in Igbo land. It is our ordinary. We met it. It is our ordinary. We met bride price payment. Part of Igbo ordinary is that now I George, a bibomo, I George a gomo. It is our ordinary. The kola nut prayer and culture surrounding kola nut is our ordinary. Omenani is that one that the things we are practicing that we learn, that is dynamic, that is culture. It can change over time because of maybe modernity. But ordinary, that an Igbo person passes and is given a proper funeral rite. It is our culture. It is our tradition to do so. Those ones are parts of our ordinary that we don't easily allow to change. Na anyị Igbo kwuo ofu ihe dị mkpa m ga-ati ọnụ bụ na anyị na-egbu ọchụ n'ala Igbo. A na-egbu ọchụ n'ala Igbo. In Igbo land, life is very sacrosanct. Life in Igbo culture is very sacrosanct. Just like I mentioned earlier, that anyone who in any way, I don't want to speak English, I'm trying to dodge it. Onye gbuo ọchụ n'ala Igbo, onye gbu mmadụ n'ala Igbo, ọbara aba mmetụ n'anị ga-ejerịrị kwa ọchụ. Ihe eji akwụ ọchụ osike o. Ị na-anụ na ndị ụbụrụ shi nne na obodo dị iche n'iche, ya bụ maka na ụfọdụ n'ime ha egbu ọchụ. Nke anyị lebara anya mbọsị na Igbo ọza na ogbu nwunye. Onwe ọchụ mmadụ ga-agbu agba enene bụ oke ọchụ ka ọ bụ onye nye. Oke ọchụ bụ ọchụ mmadụ gba n'ilolo gbagbue, a premeditated murder ka ikpe ọchụ. Onye gbuo ọchụ dị premeditated, onye agbagha anyị ilolo ba mezue, ha ya bụ oke ọchụ. Nye onye ọhụrụ n'ime oweri, onye ọ is either na-egbugwara onye ka ọ bụ wechie nwa okposho ga-amụcha n'iwe nwa ọzọ na nye ndị ọzọ dị n'ime agba ekpụọ ya bụ ala ọbala kwa eji akpụ alụ ọbala. So life is very sacrosanct. In fact, anyị nwere dịka okwu na mmadụ adịghị egbu onye ọkwa, especially one that is from your lineage. Unu na nwa nọ n'ahịa ga-eje gbuo onye. Anyị na-eji ya n'egwu n'ala Igbo. Ya ka o ji bụ na nye ndị emenikịta na bịa gbagwojuo anyị anya na ọ bụzi na nye anyị. Unu hụ ndị emume mkpakala na-ebu ekwulekwu na-ebu ọgbaghara n'obodo dị iche n'iche n'ala Igbo. Ị ga-ajụ onwe Igbo ndị na-emenye n'Igbo abụkwa ndị Igbo ka ọ bụ mgbe si bucha afọ imewe. Onye ọbụla bụ onye Igbo mara na ndụ agwụda n'afọ na ndụ ka akwụ. Ndụ ka bụ afọ anadị ene m. Anyị na-eji ndụ na-egwu. Agwụ mmadụ ka mmadụ agwụde na onwe mmadụ ka o nwee ego. Ndụ a mmadụ adụ anọbe nnọọ adọbepụ a tupu e ga-eji gbu mmadụ na mbụ ya bụ iyi aja, ya bụ na onye ọ na-emejulughe. Ụfọdụ oge ikwu e ga-ejide gbu mmadụ edupụ adue ya n'ajọ ọfịa nne o jechebe ya jeri. Ndị ya ahụta atawasị na ndị na-egbu osu ka ọ bụ osu bụ ndị ọbụla ikesa achọwa igbu n'iwe je wee gbuo ndị mmụọ wele onwe wee dediketi eto mmụọ nwụọ na mmụọ na ka efezi mmụọ nwụọ ya chemewe. Ụfọdụ n'ime onwe gị n'iwe mee agbachọkwa egbu ewe tupu ejije gbuo ndị mmụọ. Ya bụ na ala Igbo ofu nwe ji mara anyị bụ na obodo si bịa ikwude na adị wee gbu mmadụ n'ebe o si je na eteke. One cannot be killed because he or she is from a distant place. So we preserve life. We regard life so highly. We don't take life easily. A community where blood has been spilled in Igbo land. We do a lot in terms of appeasement because we believe that blood may be speaking negatively against that community, especially the individual that committed or perpetrated the act. These are important things you will see. You don't need to go and spend money to do ancestry DNA test to know that you are an Igbo person. Igbo people. Igbo people are so wise. Igbo people of old are so wise to now compare to this digital age of Igbo people. There's a group in Enuani that speak Yoruba language. Some people call them Ndi Olukumi, and Yorubas know the meaning of Olukumi. Olukumi means my friend. They said they were calling people Olukumi when they came, and then the people now in turn call them Olukumi. They are now known as Ndi Olukumi. But that's not the name Enuani people know them as. We, the Enuani people, call them Ndi Odiani. And Enuani person knows what Odi means. It's like an odd person in a land, a strange person in our land. Foreigners in a land. Foreigners in a land. That's the name given to them to distinguish them from these ones. No, these ones are not one of us. They came to us, welcome them, and they are living in our midst. That's the name given to them. Odiani. But they are welcome in our midst. Some of them still speak their Yoruba till today. You will see the other groups who came with Ezechima. We didn't give them that kind of name because they came with our Igbo brother and they speak Igbo and they still speak Igbo till tomorrow. I'm sure if you watch that beautiful documentary, you will hear the language all of them spoke. And that's how I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to be going from community to community to document their own personal lineage history so that you will see how Igbo these people are. So that in 50 years' time or 70 years' time, we will have also become ancestors. Their children can see these documentaries and say, oh, this is our great-great-grandfather. He was an Igbo man. And then we are Igbo people. Finish. If I mention 9 names in my genealogy, they will all be Igbo. If I am to go back to as far as should I begin with Enali? Enali is the father of Olise. Olise is the father of Diese. Diese is the father of Ojuko. Uko is like a message in Enuani. Ojuko is the one who holds the counsel of a king. Ojuko Obi. Ojuko is the father of Oshu Eleze. A slave cannot sell a king. Oshu Eleze is the father of Moasha. Moasha, Mo Asha. It is the spirits, it is the gods that decide. Moasha is the father of Onwode. Onwode name. Onwo is like Nka. Nkade. Onwode is the father of Ogochuku. Ogochuku is my own father. I'm sure I've mentioned more than 10 names in my genealogy and they are all Igbo names. And you see somebody in this generation telling you he's not Igbo. He's from Benin. How did Benin name enter inside all these names I mentioned? In fact, some of the parents were overzealous or maybe they had friends. Because it's not out of place to have friends in Benin and give your children names because you like that friend. Alright? Because I have an elder sister whose name is a Yoruba name. Because my father lived in Yoruba land where she was born and she was given a Yoruba name. She also has her Igbo name. So her name is very funny. A Yoruba and Igbo name together. So there are some who, because of their relationship with Benin people, gave their children a Benin name. Doesn't change the fact that the person is an Igbo person. So you may see somebody whose name is Oboebo in Enuani. There are some as well who came back from living in Anidu, who bear names like Osakwe, Oseji, and all kinds of names. They believe they are the ones who say Ose. They don't know that Ose is our own Olise. On another day, we will discuss thoroughly the Benin people and their antics. But today, we have successfully looked at the topic, important elements of Igbo history and identity. Anywhere you see Igbo people, they will have usually a deity. There are so many deities in my community that are ancestral in that community. I'm going to mention like 4. These 4 that I will mention, you will use their name to compare where the people who own this deity are from. We have in my community deities like Ohai, some call it Oshai. That Ohai is a well-known deity in most Western Igbo communities. We have Ogugu. The same way you have Ogugu in Okija, we have Ogugu in Obolo. And most Enuani communities in Okpanam, there is Ogugu. Lineages are named Idumo Ogugu, Obo Ogugu, and they are ancestral lineages. Lineages are named Obibo, to tell you that this is the identity of the people here. No, so that you can't change it later on. They are not new names, old names of lineages. We have lineages like Idumo Ogugu, Obo Ogugu, Obibo. And then we have deities again like Alosi Oba. Which other language calls a deity Alose? We call it Alose. Our brothers across the river Niger may say Arose. But it is the same thing, the same pronunciation, the same meaning. Alosi Oba. We have Bitime in most communities in Enuani. This deity, we have Idigu. Someone said Idigu is a Yoruba deity, and I laugh. This one is very interesting because Idigu as a deity is like the god of iron. Any lineage that does metal work use Idigu as their deity. This Idigu is in Ibuzo, Obori quarters in Ibuzo. It's in Obuluku. It is in a place called Idumomo in Obuluku. It is in Ogwash. All these people are greeted Ojogu. I don't mean to, okay, I'm going to read that. So just give me time, I'll read it. Top chat. I don't mean to point you in different direction. Besides the ongoing tribal identity crisis, are the neighbors okay with collaborating to building economically, to building their areas politically and economically, including common infrastructure? They are not. Oh. Our neighbors who are from Benin are not interested in collaborating with anybody to build economically, infrastructurally, or politically now. Just like you see in videos, that video is not an orchestration. The Oba believes his subjects are slaves. The Oba sees his subjects as slaves. In fact, the word loud, they will do their hands like this and say, they are slaves. They have to say it with their mouth, that they are slaves. They will rub their hands like this and hit their head. It's not an Igbo man's thing to go and bow down. It's not an Igbo man's thing. To tell you that it is not an Igbo man's thing, my community, you don't do that too. To go and lie down or bow down to greet a king. You can greet your king respectfully. Doesn't mean you go and lie down or kneel down. The Oba sees people around those surrounding communities as vassal states and even calls their kings Oge, Enoge, like they are chiefs. And those communities are chiefdoms. They are not communities. So you cannot find these communities trying to collaborate with their neighbors to achieve any common goal, because the other one is seeing the other as an inferior, not as an equal. That's the difference between we and them. and that can never allow for collaboration. Otherwise, unity in numbers, there is safety in numbers. The more number you have, the more politically relevant you will be. I want to thank every one of us who joined this live broadcast. It was unannounced, it was unscheduled, but so many people turned up and followed us from the first minute to this minute. We have over 11 people online now still watching. I want to thank you and appreciate you for supporting us to grow. Please, if you have not subscribed to our channel, do so. Kindly do so. Share our videos to your audience, and we look forward to seeing you on our next video. If we do live video, we'll look forward to seeing you on the live video. You can support us in some other ways as well. You can send us gifts through our super thanks package. You can do so, yes. You can also share our videos, comment on our channel, watch the ads that display. Do have a very pleasant evening. I had a very long day, but I had already planned that I will do a live video today, and that is why I finally came online to do the live video. Let me drop a proverb for us to guide us through. I have documented a very long list of Igbo proverbs, especially the ones that have gone extinct. And I think I will have to give us one. This one is talking about experience. I will dedicate a time for us to look into proverbs. But this proverb is talking about experience. It says, Oye fuofia or malofia. Getting lost in a forest presents an opportunity to know such a forest. The meaning is that nothing teaches you more than experience. So feel free to explore, and by experience, you will know more. Do have a very wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, depending on which part of the world you are seeing this video from. Remember to support us in any way you can, so that next time again we can come online and do a live video, because we are motivated by the previous ones we have done. Thank you so much and have a lovely evening, my fellow Igbo brothers.